Hey, how are you?
I'm good.
Have you had a chance to look over your forms?
Yes.
Okay, I'll just take a look at them, and we'll just go over a few things together. Okay, so this first sheet, the confidentiality agreement,
Okay.
this is just basically letting you know that whatever happens here in therapy, whatever you say, it's just between me and you. However, I am a student, so I do have a supervisor, and my supervisor will be viewing our sessions from time to time, so she will have some of your information if that's okay.
Okay.
Also, I have to let you know that if you say something in therapy that may lead me to believe that you may harm yourself or others, and that I do have to take to my supervisor, and we'll have to kind of go from there with that.
Okay.
Okay? Also, I just want to let you know that at any point in therapy, if you'd like to stop, you're not obligated to continue, so at any time you can say that you're uncomfortable and you'd like to stop, and you won't be penalized for that.
Okay.
Okay? And then we'll just go over a few basic questions. So, name is Jasmine. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. 22.
Mhm.
And you have down here that you're coming down feeling a little bit anxious.
Yeah.
Okay. So, when we go ahead and you tell me about what you're going through.
I've had a lot of anxiety in the last year, just because mostly school, a lot of test anxiety, and that's just kind of developed into other things. Like, I get anxious about a lot of other, like any little decision that I make, I kind of overanalyze it.
So you're overthinking most of the decisions that you're having to make.
Even the little decisions, yeah. So it's kind of frustrating because I can't really do things on my own because I feel like I have to overthink or just think of every scenario possible that can happen.
So you're feeling frustrated because you're spending so much time overthinking your decisions, and
I actually never get anything done because of it, so
you're feeling like you're just being a little bit held back by your anxiety, and
yeah.
It makes you feel like you're being weighed down a little bit by...
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, in the last year, with the anxiety, I haven't been able to do much just because I get so nervous. I put it away. I never really get to it because I'm kind of like scared of failing, so I'd just rather not do it.
So your anxiety is kind of coming from you're afraid of making the wrong decisions.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. So let's give me a couple examples of some decisions that you feel you've maybe thought about too much.
Just with school, it's kind of been like an obsession trying to graduate and trying to finish and like trying to do it really fast and not taking my time. And I kind of rush myself because I see everyone else finishing before me, so I feel the need to have to be at their level.
So you're feeling a little bit inadequate right now?
Yeah, I mean, my expectations for myself, I'm not there where I thought I would be at this time. So that's been a little bit of a letdown, and I think that's where my anxiety's been going.
So it sounds like you're a little bit disappointed
Yeah.
that you're not on the track you set out for yourself.
Well, yeah, that's probably exactly it, so.
So how do you feel you're going to deal with the frustration if you're never sure if you're doing the right thing?
Well, I mean, it's a little trial and error. I mean, I've tried to control the anxiety. Everyone tells me to relax, and it's hard to do it when someone tells you to, but I mean, it's starting to take a toll in my health. Like, I'm tired and upset and irritated a lot with people, so it's just something I have to do with myself and try to relax and, I really don't know what to do, so.
So you're feeling maybe a little bit lost just because you're dealing with anxiety and maybe other people aren't understanding how you're feeling or why you're feeling that way?
Well, people think I over-exaggerate. I mean, and I do sometimes, but, I mean, they also don't understand that the anxiety is what keeps me, like, on edge all the time, and that's why I'm upset all the time.
So your anxiety is kind of cutting into your relationships a little bit?
Not so much. Irritated with people sometimes, but not to the point where, like, I don't talk to them or I pick fights with them or anything. It's just, I think my anxiety impairs a lot of what I do, like in school. Like, I'm not motivated anymore, really, so that has a lot to do with it, because I'm just like, I'd rather not. If I don't have anything to do, then I won't have anything to stress about. So I'd rather just not do anything.
So you prefer to just leave things, let them go, instead of having to obsess over whether or not you're going to do the right thing?
Yeah. I try, well, it's not that I don't do them, I just try to avoid them as much as I can till I reach that point where I actually have to do something about it. So.
And this is about like assignments, or what kinds of things are you avoiding?
Well, I mean, I see it in assignments and like homework. I could procrastinate a lot, but then I don't know if that's just me being in college and deciding to leave everything to the last minute. But like, not joining clubs and all of that. Like, I don't do it just because it's a lot of extra work and a lot of things that I'd have to worry about. I think just a lot. I was so used to in high school being, on top of my class and all of that, and now in college I'm not really. I'm just average. So that just bothers me a lot.
So, okay, let me just summarize those.
Yeah, I know it was a lot.
So you're kind of, in high school you were a little more involved in extracurricular activities, and you felt like you were able to manage better, and now you're feeling
like I can't manage it.
Okay, so you're feeling like maybe it's a little bit hard to balance your schoolwork and your extracurriculars, so you're kind of setting aside the things that you once did for entertainment to focus more on your school?
I mean, not entertainment necessarily. In high school, I would go beyond everybody else. Like, I was top of my class and all. And now in college, I can barely do like the bare minimum and manage to sleep at night, So it's kind of like I'm more disappointed in myself that I'm not, one of like the top students, and so, yeah.
So do you think that you're just disappointed because you're feeling like you're more inadequate when you compare yourself to how you were in high school?
Yeah, that's what it is, I think.
Do you ever think about maybe the difference of complexity between your high school work and your college work?
I mean, yeah, but I don't see it that way. I guess in my head, I just compare myself to my high school self. Or just like the people around me. I mean, I know not all my friends are as successful, and I know I need to give myself credit for making it this far, but I'm just like, it's not that I'm jealous that I see the other people succeed, but I'm like, why haven't I reached that yet if I've worked so hard? So.
So you're focusing more on what you think you should have accomplished by now versus what you have accomplished?
Yeah, basically.
So you're just having some trouble seeing kind of the positives versus...
Yeah, I just don't really see the positive in it, even though people tell me, like, I've been doing a good job, and I kind of look at the stuff I haven't done and kind of beat myself up.
And so, I'm just going to summarize real quick. It sounds to me that you're feeling a little bit inadequate just because your grades or your achievements aren't exactly where you wanted them to be, so you did have a timeline for yourself?
I did. I mean, nothing is wrong with my grades. Like, I get good grades, but for what I expected for like you said, I had a timeline, and for this point in my life, what I thought where I would be at, I'm nowhere near, so that's kind of like upsetting.
So it's more of a frustration is what I'm sensing.
I just feel stuck. Still trying to finish school, which is, I've never been the type of person that like struggles in school at all. And now that I have, it's been kind of like an eye-opener, and I don't know how to deal with it. So it's a little frustrating, and I think that's where the anxiety comes, because I, feel the need to have to perform. Sometimes like do well, and sometimes I don't, and if I fail, then it's just like I don't know how to deal with that.
So correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds a little bit like you're afraid of maybe not being adequate enough in your academics. Sounds like you're afraid that you're not going to hit that goal or that timeline that you're really looking for.
Yeah. I base a lot of my like things in a timeline. Like, I'm always like planning and saying by this time I need to have this, and then if it doesn't happen, then it's frustrating to me. And it seems almost like if I'm not going to ever reach it if I don't reach it at that time. So
a little frustrated that things aren't going
kind of like a control issue, kind of. The fact that I don't have control over everything in my life. Like I did in high school, I had a lot of control over a lot of things, and now in college it's not like that. And I mean, it's something I've had to deal with, and it's life, it happens, no one's perfect, but it's rough to deal with when you're so used to having control over everything. I went on this medication, it's called Best Friend, and I took that for a month while I was studying for the exam, and it definitely helped a lot, but I didn't want to become dependent on it, so I got off of it really quick. It did its job for the time that I needed it, but other than that, just sports and talking to my family. Talking to people is a big aspect of it. My parents definitely help.
Do you feel like these people are hearing you, that they're understanding what you're
Yeah, I mean, definitely I feel like they're listening. Just sometimes I feel like they get a little annoyed because I'm constantly complaining and I have to constantly tell them like what's wrong. But I mean, they do listen. But like I said, I just feel like sometimes they're kind of fed up with having to hear my issues all the time.
So why do you feel like it's a complaining rather than just sharing how you're feeling?
Well, because I always have something negative to say. Even if I do well in school or I do something, like get good grades, I always look at the negative part of it. Or like if I have a test to take, I'll already assume that I failed. And it's just, I always look at the negative side now. And it's happened recently. Like I wasn't like that until this year, where I'm really optimistic about things. So I think that's why they get a little annoyed, because they just want me to stop being so negative about things.
So you're kind of not giving yourself a chance to really succeed because
Well,
you're
yeah.
more focused on how you might fail.
Well, yeah. I mean, I automatically say, if I don't pass this test, then I'm going to have to take it next month. But I never really say, I'm going to pass this test. I automatically assume that I'm going to fail.
And is that just your anxiety, or is...
Well, I've had so much trouble with things that, I've failed at so many things that I feel like just now, forever, it's going to be like I'm going to mess up. But yeah, it has a lot to do with the anxiety.
So it sounds like you're afraid of the failure so much that you're really not giving yourself a chance
Exactly.
to go out and be positive and feel good about these exams that you're taking.
Yeah, just because I'm so anxious about it and scared that I kind of set myself up for failure.
Mm-hmm. And now do you ever think that maybe you're obviously not the only one who's feeling anxious? Are there other people, maybe classmates, who you can relate to and maybe they're feeling the same?
I mean, definitely when I wasn't in school and we were in break, I felt like I was the only one who was struggling. But when I started school, I started to see that other people were on the same boat with me. And it was weird how well they handled their stress. Like, they weren't as anxious as I was. And it was kind of frustrating because I'm like, how are they so relaxed? And I'm here, frantic every day, trying to figure out what my next step is going to be or my plan B, because I obviously have to have a plan B for everything. But it's helped, though, talking to other people and seeing that I'm not the only one that's struggling.
So consulting with everyone kind of makes you feel a little bit better that you're not going through it alone. You're not the only one feeling this way. There's other people out there.
Sorry. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it... Anyways, yeah, it feels better though when I know that I'm not the only one struggling, because I don't feel so isolated, and I know I'm not the only one having issues with the same thing.
So you were feeling a little alone when you thought that, everybody else wasn't struggling as much as you were?
I mean, yes and then no. I mean, I know people struggle, in school and in other things, but I was feeling a little bit more upset because I'm like, why me? I work so hard and I do everything I can in school, but yet, I just keep failing and struggling. And it's just that was the frustrating part, because I'd never dealt with anything like that. I'm not saying I've never failed, but I've never struggled so much in something in school. I'm talking in terms of one of the tests that I had to take for school. So that was just the only frustrating part for me.
So it sounds to me like during this time when you have exams, you really keep coming back to that feeling of inadequacy. You feel like, you said yourself that, why is nobody else struggling the way that I am? Mm-hmm. So you're just feeling, it sounds like it's that feeling of inadequacy that's really holding you back and giving you anxiety about.
Well, I mean, yeah, it's not only with the test, just in general, me being so obsessed with trying to finish school. Like, I don't even know if it's because I want to finish it or because I feel like I need to for my family and to like be the same as my friends that have graduated from school. So it's just, sometimes I lose sight or I forget why I'm actually doing it. Whether it's something I obviously want to graduate and finish school, but I think a lot of my anxiety comes from trying to like perform in a way that like not meet the needs of other people. I don't know how to say it exactly. Like please people, I guess maybe my family or.
So you're feeling a little bit of pressure from your support system to do, or maybe to graduate, to make them see you in a certain light.
Yeah, it's just to make them think of me as successful, I guess, because they won't until I graduate. So yeah, the pressure has to do a lot with it. When I see a lot of friends and stuff moving on, like I know I have friends that, you know, haven't graduated and aren't doing very much with their lives, but I don't see it. I see only the friends who are, you know, moving on up, doing more things than I am, and I think that's what I feed off of, and I try to like compete with them almost.
And it sounds like it's pretty hard for you, you know, to have to face all that pressure and to compare yourself to others. You know, It sounds like it sounds hard for you.
Yeah, it is. It's frustrating sometimes. I mean, I deal with it, but it's definitely made school a little bit harder this past year.
It's made it harder just because your focus has shifted a little bit?
It's made it harder because I just have to constantly plan and have a plan B, and I feel like lately I've just been rushing through things. Like I have to follow everything step by step, and I'm just like, okay, and then I try to do too much at the same time. Like I try to juggle things, so I don't feel like I ever give 100% on certain things because I'm trying to do too much when I know I shouldn't, because I can't really control all of it, especially with like my anxiety and everything right now. But yeah.
So you're taking on more than you can handle?
I try. I mean, I say I do, I don't know, I say I'm gonna do things and then I really don't, because then the anxiety gets to me and I'm just like, oh, never mind, I'm not gonna do it. It's like I want to start things, but I can't, because I kind of find an excuse for things to not do it.
So you prefer to not do things rather than have to face that stress that might come out of a situation?
Sometimes, yeah, depending on what it is.
You're kind of planning to do all these things and then you back out because you're feeling like maybe it might be a little too much. So with the other activities that you do, whether it be work or extracurriculars, how do you manage all of those things with your school?
Well, I try. School takes over a lot. Sometimes I don't do the things I like. Like, sometimes I don't play sports because I'd rather sleep for 5 more minutes, and I think that's what stresses me out a lot too. Sometimes not with school, I don't do the things I love. Like I used to like to do a lot of art and I don't do it anymore. And I don't know if it's necessarily because I don't have time or I make excuses that I just don't feel like doing it anymore. And I don't.
So you're losing a little bit of interest in things that used to be interesting to you?
Well, yeah, because I'd rather, I feel like it's almost, I'm taking time away from things I could be doing with school. So instead of taking time for myself to paint something, I'd rather go make a list of what I have to do for the next week, you know, and it's kind of annoying because I have to plan it out.
So it sounds a little bit like you're just overwhelmed.
Yeah.
You've kind of reached a limit, and now you are so overwhelmed that you're kind of feeling like you have to say no to certain things and really focus on just a couple of things that you feel you can do well.
Which usually is school that has to go first. Usually I'll take time from whatever I want to do to focus on school.
And that frustrates you a little bit that you have to
because school has pretty much consumed my life. I mean, it's all I think about, or it's all I do. And the only time I do have for myself is when I run or like do some sort of exercise, but that's just like an hour a day at least, you know. And the rest is just school and homework and just sometimes I find myself planning way more and not even actually getting work done, which is annoying.
So it upsets you a little bit that you have to focus so much on school.
Well, yeah, because if I didn't have school, then what would I have, you know?
So what would you be doing then if you weren't in school?
I don't know. That's the thing. I wouldn't know what to do. Like when I find myself like on vacation or I have days off, I really don't know what to do because I'm like, school is all I've ever really done. It's, you know, it's not bad, but I've also kind of lost the fun side.
Yeah. So you just feel a little bit lost when you don't have school there?
Well, yeah, because I use school. For me, success is school. And I don't think it should be like that necessarily. Like, I don't know.
Why do you feel that way?
I mean, if you would have talked to me in high school and like, I would have told you the same thing, like, school is success. Like, you're only successful if you finish school. But now that I'm getting older, that's starting to change. And I mean, but yeah, I think it's like, it's starting to change. Like, I don't think you need to go to school to be successful. But then again, I rate myself that way. But I need school to be successful. No one, like, you don't need school to be successful. I'll think you're fine if you don't go to school. But I need it, you know?
So it's just a standard that you have for yourself.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so we're getting kind of close to the end of our session. So I'm going to do a summary and then we can maybe talk about what your goals are for next week.
Oh.
So basically, what it sounds to me, what you've said, just a lot of anxiety again about school, feeling frustrated with school and how you're facing certain failures that you hadn't faced before, and you're struggling really to understand those few failures that you've come across. Mm-hmm. But you are managing to cope.
I am.
You're really giving your teaching profession a chance. You're happy with how things are progressing, even if they might not be falling on the timeline.
Yeah.
So for your future goals, like what would you like to work on in therapy?
I mean, just trying to manage my stress and not just freak out so much and let the anxiety take over me. So being patient, I think, is what I have to work on, and knowing that I can't always get things when I want them to be done. I mean, that's hard to, you know, accept, but I mean, it's something I have to accept, so.
Okay, so just your biggest goal would be really to manage stress and anxiety, and then to learn how to be more patient and give more time to some of the things that you have to get done.
And also just give myself time for things other than school. I think it's important. So not being so fixated on I have to study or I have to do this. I mean, just giving myself time to breathe.
So just finding a balance between school and other things that you enjoy, like your things that you say you've kind of lost interest in, like your art.
Yeah.
So maybe going back to that, being able to enjoy those activities again.
Yeah, definitely. And it's easier said than done, but I'm going to try, so.
So you're willing really to work
Yeah.
to do that. Okay, well that sounds good. So there are definitely some goals that we can work on in therapy, and we can definitely work on managing anxiety and stress and really preparing you for that time when school ends and you'll be moving into your professional career, and how to deal with the anxiety that'll come from those new situations that again will be or may be out of your control.
Yeah.
All right, that sounds good. Thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you again for being brave enough to come into therapy at all.
No problem.
Thank you. So I'll see you next week.
All right, thanks.